In the last lesson, we took an overview of what class structure we're going to use to read in the level data. Now, to save you a bit of time, what I've actually done is given you these classes with or as resources attached to this lesson, hopefully anyway. Please take those 3 files and copy and paste them using your file browser or whatever into the resources and then classes folder. So in my case, for example, you can see that I'm in the code Sokoban classes folder here. I literally downloaded them and then just pasted them into there. I didn't use the Godot IDE or anything like that. We don't need to do that here. With that done, what we can do is switch into VS Code. Inside VS Code then, let's have a look at the classes. So I've got the level layout class here. There's one slight difference in the code. We're using Newtonsoft.json here in the slide. It wasn't using Newtonsoft.json, it was using the internal C# library, but the attributes are doing the same thing. Other than that, everything is identical. So we have our level layout, which takes in our tiles and our player start, and then we have the get tiles for layer. Then our tile coordinates with our x and y, again mapping the small x to the big X. To vector2i, if you right click on vector2i, you'll see that we have a class here which has an x and a y which are integers and they are not actually floats, which is a difference from a normal vector. And then we have the tile layers, where we have the enumerator constant here, which is public, so we can use it elsewhere. And then we have our classes or list of tile coordinates, that we're reading in for each of those layers. And we have the function getTiles for layer. So we get a level layout object or class or an instance of a level layout for each of the levels. It has a getTiles for layer, and that kind of drills through into the tile layers and then gets that or an empty one, depending if it can't find it. The JSON itself, hopefully if you double click on that, you see a load of text on the screen like this. Now, depending on VS Code and settings you've got, it'll either show the whole thing wrapped like this, or it'll show it all on one line. The text is actually all on one line. It's just been shown wrapped here. But as long as you see a load of X's and Y's and target boxes and things like that, you can be fairly sure that you've got everything okay. Just make sure it's in the data folder there. So what I want to do is build the code to actually read this in and make sure that we're actually populating our level layouts for each of our levels. So let's go into game data. Inside game data, the first thing we're going to need is the path, so the path that we're going to load. And then we're going to store all of this inside a dictionary. So we're going to read in where the key of the dictionary is a string, which is the level. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the JSON, it's a string, so we'll keep it as a string here. And then we'll have as the value then the level layout instance for that particular level. Now, later on inside the game, we're going to want to, in the UI, actually get hold of how many levels we have. So I've put as well a static integer here called level count, which simply returns the instance.levellayouts.count. So when we've loaded all of these up, we can ask the game data using .levelCount, how many levels do we actually have? We'll use this to build a grid up of all the levels, which you'll see later on. The main action takes place in a new function we're going to write called load level data. So inside here then, what we're going to do, and we've done this a few times before, we're going to say using var file is equal to file access. I've used var instead of file access this time, I guess, as you're getting used to the types here. We want here the .open. Then here we'll use a level data path, and we want to read here. So we want read mode flags. As usual, we need to make sure that the file is not equal to null if we're going to do something, because if it is equal to null, we'll get blue screens and all sorts if we try to basically read a null pointer, or even worse, an address that's pointing to something that doesn't exist. Assuming it does exist, though, we can get our JSON equal to and file.and_getText. And the next thing to do is just check whether this string that we get back is null or empty or not, because if it is null or empty, we don't really want to do anything with it. So as long as it's not null or empty, I need to remember the not there. Then we can get our level layouts. That's going to be equal to, and we want JSON convert. Then we want to deserialize object. And before I go any further there, the JSON convert here should import the newtonsoft.json for you at the top of the file here. Make sure it's not imported the internal JSON. So we've got deserialize object coming from newtonsoft.json, and we send in here our dictionary type. So I need to find that up here. Where are we? Dictionary string and level layout. This is going to be a little bit long, so I'll move that in as well. That's better. And then in brackets here, our JSON data, and that should read in all of our level layouts from our file for us. So I'll do Control-S to save. To check this, I'm going to put a breakpoint actually at the bottom here on line 31, just at the end of the file not equal to null. And actually I'll put one here as well to check we've got the string read in correctly as well. Before running this, I'm going to drop back into the IDE. And in the IDE, just click Build. Now this shouldn't really be necessary, but I have found using the debugger that sometimes there's an issue, or he gets a bit confused and the breakpoints just don't seem to land despite the code definitely being invoked. And usually going back, building it in Godot and saving and then going back into VS Code seems to solve that problem. I genuinely don't know why. It just happens now and again. So I've gone back and built there. Back in VS Code, then we should be ready to run. I have it in the project. I can't remember whether I've already pointed it out, but I've put already the launch and task.json as standard in here. So I can run this by pressing F5. You should be able to as well. So I'm going to press F5 and hopefully that lands us at the breakpoint. And it hasn't landed us at the breakpoint, but that's my own fault, isn't it? Because I've forgotten to invoke the load level data here. So I'll put that there. Sorry about that, and do that again. So F5. Okay, that's better. We've hit the first breakpoint. So let's have a look here. So we've got JSON data. If I hover over it, yeah, we've got loads of text. That's good. Let's go to the next one. This is the big one. Let's hover over level layouts. Do we have a load of layouts? It's not showing anything. If I hover again, that's interesting. Why are you not showing anything when I hover? Oh, you are now. Okay, good. So we've got 40 of them. That's correct. Let's have a look at the first one here. It's definitely level 1. It's key value pair and the value is level layout. That's good. So we've got key 1. It's a string. Note it's a string. We'll always use a string in the application. The value should be level layout with the player start, which has an X and a Y. Then the tile layers. And then, for example, the boxes with their different coordinates as well. Excellent. So that seems to have all been read in. That's really, really good. So we can now basically ask this class for a given level with a given string, and then just iterate through the different tile layers to be able to build up our tile map. So I'm actually going to press stop there and stop the debugger because we don't need to run that any further. To finish this class, what we can do is we can write ourselves another static function, and this one's going to be to actually get a level layout for a given level. This will be what we invoke when we want to build a level. So when the player selects level 2, it's going to invoke this function. So the game data dot get level layout with the string 2 as the parameter here. What we will do, and usually for me probably, we'll actually check that we've actually got the key here. So we'll say that if the instance, and then we want the level layouts dots and contains key, it needs to contain the level name. If it doesn't, then we'll return null. In fact, I'll put that here, so return null. Otherwise, what we can do is we can return the instance level layouts and then the key. So I'll just put square brackets here and level name. And the reason I've got red there is because I haven't put return, have I? There we go. Okay, so we should be able to use this now, wherever we want to inside the application, to actually get an instance of level layout for the given level that we're looking for. And the first way really to test that all of this is up and working is actually by starting to build the main interface, which is what we'll look at in the next lesson.